Okay, back at Copenhagen Power Pullers. This is Simon, who has won the Danish Championship at 85 kilo.
Under 80 kilos was it last time?
Under 80 kilos.
Under 80 kilos.
So we have a champion here. And I thought it would be nice to just hear a little bit about what he does when he's training, and also what his particular strengths are, and try and learn from him. I am, of course, short and not nearly as strong, so there's no way that I can give him a real fight. But that's not what this is about. This is about learning, so take it away, Simon.
Yeah. So, my particular strength is I'm a presser. So I always want to press in a real match. Right now I'm also training to top roll and side press and all other techniques just to get it in the back. But right now I'll mostly press. So I'll try to get very close to my hand in the beginning. Then I'll try to pull up, and when the ready go comes, I'll press upwards and sideways, twist my body while I'm pulling with my left arm, and then I'll try to press down on my opponent here while pulling
disabling
their hands
their strength
in, so they can't really use their hand, and then pressing down on their arm.
It works. So it's basically a way of disabling your opponent from being able to use their hand and strength. It kind of almost stops all of your strength as an opponent. So I guess the opponent has to have a particularly strong hand, both to stop you and to, if you do get them in a press, to somehow roll out of it again.
Yeah, I haven't met anyone yet that can roll out while I'm already inside, but maybe that's 100% somewhere out there.
It's actually
a strong guy. But
for me to be in this position, because I've been watching arm wrestling for about a year before I came here, and I watched the match with John Brasink and Zolov, and Zolov had him in a hook, and Engen says, "Can you roll out?" And John's like, "Okay, I'll try," and he's like, and he flipping well rolls out. And now that I've experienced being in this position, it just makes me go like, okay, that was actually a pretty impressive deal.
Yeah. So I'll always try to get inside, and I'm just naturally good at pressing. It's what my body naturally wants to do. It doesn't hurt even outside. Not as strong there, of course, but I think it's because I can't really get my arm close to my shoulder, which is a huge advantage, because
So
I can just actually press with the tension in my arm.
So he basically can't be fouled. He can't foul.
Yeah, it's really hard. I have tried, if I give it 100% against someone really strong, and my arm is in a worse position out here, I can get in, but I haven't tried it yet with if I'm in a good position.
Okay.
So for me, the win or lose moment is always in the beginning, if I'm quick enough to get my opponent in. If I have my opponent here, I haven't tried losing yet, but if they are very quick and they get the outside of my shoulder, then I can have a really hard time.
So, not against me, of course.
No, I'm becoming better again. Still learning, as always.
There we go.
Now I'm not particularly strong in most cases, so that's also why the speed for me is very important, to get my opponents inside, getting in the hook, and then press, because I don't have the strongest biceps or shoulders, so I need to get them in where I'm comfortable and then press and use my whole body, because my individual points are not strong. I can just use them together, but it's very natural to me, so
it's all relative.
Yeah.
He is strong, but yes, there's levels to this. So you're trying to learn to top roll.
Yes, I'm also trying to learn to top roll because I'm really bad at it, and I feel like it's quite necessary.
So it's always tempting to stay with the tool that works, but in a toolbox, if you have a few different ones to choose from, then you can better compete against people who have a different set of tools. So I can see the temptation to be like, oh yeah, this works. Do that every time. And then you meet somebody who's just that bit better at a press than you, and you're stuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I almost never train the press because I train the technique at home by myself, and that's most of the time enough. Sometimes here at Copenhagen Power Pools I train it too, but it's because it's more of a win-lose situation and I don't get much training out of it. So I always try to make it an even match. I feel like it's the best training to make it an even match. So if my opponent is weaker, I'll put myself in a weaker position and try to take that position back.
Yeah. So where are we going to start to make it a little bit of a fight for you?
I'd of course have a worse grip a bit further down now. My hand is a lot bigger than yours, so I'm still holding quite far in your hand. Most of the time I would be happy to be between the first and second finger of my opponent, but you have such a small hand, so if I hold normally, I'll hold all the way to the first finger, and most of the time I'll hold at most to the second. But then I would place myself quite far down.
So how about I try and do the hook, and you have to just let me just give some resistance, but don't make it impossible for me. So it's basically about quickly getting into this position. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then pressing down on the other's wrists, and then dragging.
Yeah, even before dragging, it's sort of a twisting motion. So you twist in with your body.
Yeah.
So you don't go in here because then you get very far on your opponent's side. So you want to twist in while pulling towards yourself. So it's a one motion down.
And you need to somehow keep yourself on top.
Yeah,
right?
The worst for me right now, I think, is if I'm a bit too low and I can't get my hand around and they're too quick, then I can still press, but it will be 3 times harder. And if they then have me there and pull me far out towards themselves with a lot of back pressure, then I'll have a very, very hard time.
Okay. So a single motion. I'm gonna see if I can do this. It's much easier to watch than to do. So
I think you take it slow and you want to almost think of it as like a curve. You want to go up, around.
So, but you don't move your elbow, it looks like.
I move it often a little bit.
Just a little bit forward?
Not the elbow itself, but more so, it does move slightly, but not much because I want to start far.
Okay, so you're pretty much starting near the front of the pad.
Yeah, I just need a little, a few, like half a centimeter push to get up.
Okay. So you kind of start with your arm up, so you're ready
to square the shoulders to both sides.
And then...
Yeah, a lot better.
Okay.
Go! Go! go.